Okay, let's truly unpack this. Imagine if the grand narrative of history, the one we've all learned in school, was not an organic unfolding of events, but something meticulously, even cryptographically, orchestrated over millennia.
Hmm.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into a truly fascinating and, well, undeniably provocative set of sources drawn from the book Encrypted Reality.
What's particularly striking about this deep dive, I think, is its unique nature. Our source material, specifically key excerpts from Chapter 8, from Spyglass to the Unseen Eye of Surveillance, and a comprehensive recap of the book's overarching claims, puts forward a compelling, if controversial, idea.
Which is?
That a clandestine network has been subtly guiding human civilization for an incredibly long time. Our mission, as always, is to navigate these complex claims with you, to sort of extract the core ideas and to understand how they weave together, all without adding or subtracting anything from the provided material.
Precisely. For any learner out there who thrives on those aha moments, and loves to piece together a bigger, more interconnected picture from seemingly disparate facts, this deep dive is pretty much custom-tailored for you.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at surprising facts, exploring interconnected theories, and delving into just enough mind-bending ideas to keep you hooked from start to finish.
Let's embark on this journey.
Let's do it.
Our exploration begins with the introduction of the central clandestine network that forms the bedrock of the claims in Encrypted Reality. An organization referred to simply as the Watch.
The Watch, okay.
Now, the source material asserts that this is not some fleeting modern conspiracy. Its roots stretch back astonishingly far, all the way to ancient Canaan, a region of profound historical and cultural significance in the ancient Near East.
Ancient Canaan, wow.
What's even more intriguing is the claim that its motivations are incredibly primal, almost deterministic. It's said to be driven by what the book calls a legacy reflex, which is tied directly to a Neanderthal ancestry.
Neanderthal ancestry. Okay, that's unexpected.
Yeah.
A key element here is the assertion that the Watch operates not just with strategic cunning, but with a deep, almost instinctual drive.
Right.
This legacy reflex suggests their actions aren't merely opportunistic or power-hungry, but a reflection of a core subconscious impulse linked to a specific ancient lineage.
So like a deep-seated programming.
Something like that. This organization is claimed to have fundamentally created and maintained what we understand as mainstream history, acting as a hidden hand, meticulously manipulating global events for millennia. Think of it less as a series of interventions and more as a continuous, deliberate sculpting of the past.
So we're not just talking about historical revisionism, we're talking our history itself as a sophisticated fabrication. That's an audacious claim.
It really is.
But delving deeper into this legacy reflex and the Neanderthal ancestry, how does that add a primal, almost deterministic layer to this network's motivations?
Well, it pushes the concept beyond mere ambition, doesn't it? If we consider this deeply, it suggests a profound, inherited impulse to control and guide civilization, rather than just reacting to opportunities.
So it makes their actions seem inevitable.
Almost. Flowing from an ancient, deeply rooted biological or psychological blueprint. This deterministic element implies their long-term strategies are not easily swayed or derailed by external factors, as they are part of a subconscious drive to perpetuate a specific preordained order.
Like a genetic program guiding their millennia-spanning agenda.
Exactly, making them incredibly resilient and focused on their singular goal.
And at the very heart of this ancient network, we encounter a central figure, a key operative from the 15th century, identified only as G.
G.
This is where the claims become truly mind-bending. The source presents the provocative idea that G was not just one individual with extraordinary influence, but a single consciousness living simultaneously as three distinct, geographically distant historical figures.
Simultaneously. Okay, hang on. Yes, the source asserts that this individual, G, embodied three seemingly disparate historical personas. First, there was Leon Battista Alberti,
The Renaissance man, right? In Italy. Architect, artist, mathematician.
the quintessential Renaissance polymath, yes. Then, thousands of miles away, G was simultaneously Nezahualcoyotl,
The Aztec founder. The philosopher king in Mesoamerica.
the very same, revered for his wisdom, poetry, legal reforms, and finally on yet another continent, G also manifested as Pachacuti.
The Inca architect. The emperor who built their empire in South America.
Credited with orchestrating the remarkable expansion and organization of the Inca realm. So, Alberti, Nezahualcoyotl, Pachacuti. One person, G.
Just take a moment to consider the sheer implications of that. One individual embodying such diverse and geographically distant historical figures. How does this challenge our conventional notions of historical identity, individual agency, even global interconnectedness?
It completely upends them.
It suggests a singular, unifying intelligence behind pivotal moments in totally different cultures.
It absolutely raises a crucial question about the very fabric of historical understanding. If this claim were accurate, it would imply an unprecedented level of foresight, coordination, and an astonishing mastery of multiple distinct cultural contexts and knowledge systems.
It's hard to even fathom.
It challenges the very concept of distinct historical timelines unfolding independently, suggesting instead a singular, unifying intelligence operating on a truly global scale. This intelligence would be directly influencing the rise and direction of seemingly disparate civilizations.
So influence becomes something much more targeted.
Exactly. A targeted, singular, and deeply concealed force operating across continents and cultures, shaping the course of human events from behind the scenes.
The watch's influence, according to Encrypted Reality, wasn't limited to just G, though. The source suggests their reach spread much wider and deeper through successive rebrandings of its agents across different historical eras.
Rebrandings, like corporate makeovers.
Sort of, yeah. We're talking about groups appearing as the Hyksos.
Who ruled ancient Egypt for a time.
Right. Then later as the Phoenicians, the maritime traders, and later still, evolving into the powerful Kushan Empire in Central Asia and the Khazar Mongol Empires across Eurasia.
Wow, so a continuous, shape-shifting presence.
Exactly. Adapting to each new geopolitical landscape, always operating under different names.
What becomes profoundly apparent here is this concept of historical rebrandings, a strategic adaptation of their identity to suit different geopolitical landscapes and to remain cloaked in plain sight. The source makes a particularly intriguing reinterpretation of a pivotal historical event, the fall of Constantinople in 1453.
Which we usually see as this huge defeat for Byzantium, end of an era.
Right. Conventionally, it's seen as a catastrophic defeat for the Byzantine Empire at the hands of the Ottoman Turks. However, Encrypted Reality reframes it not as a defeat, but as a pivotal strategic reset, meticulously orchestrated by the watch itself.
A reset. That's a truly radical reinterpretation. What exactly was the purpose of this supposed reset, according to the source? Why engineer the fall of a major city?
According to the source, this seemingly devastating event served a calculated strategic purpose. It acted as a pretext to funnel Byzantine scholars, or what the source suggests were more accurately, agents masquerading as scholars.
Ah, okay, so not just scholars fleeing.
Potentially not. Along with, and this is crucial, newly forged ancient manuscripts into the thriving intellectual hub of Florence, Italy.
Forged manuscripts. To do what?
This deliberate influx was designed to ignite what the source terms a controlled Italian Renaissance. The ultimate goal was to cement the watch's carefully fabricated historical timeline, ensuring that their version of the past would become the accepted narrative for centuries to come.
Wow. And to enforce this new narrative.
To enforce this new narrative across Europe, the network allegedly facilitated the rise of powerful, enduring dynasties like the Habsburgs and the Romanovs.
Dynasties we all know from history books.
Precisely. These dynasties then aggressively promoted a Latin-centric historical narrative, while simultaneously embarking on a systematic campaign to erase evidence of the earlier Khazar Turkic superstate, which the watch allegedly wanted to supplant from historical memory.
This completely challenges the idea of organic historical evolution. It suggests major shifts like the Renaissance and the rise of powerful European dynasties weren't natural developments but meticulously engineered events. How does the source portray the watch's long-term strategy here? It sounds like a grand, multi-century chess game.
It's presented as nothing less than a masterful long-term strategy of deep geopolitical manipulation, a kind of supranational oversight. By controlling the flow of information, effectively rewriting historical narratives, and strategically placing key dynasties in power, the watch ensured their fabricated past would become the accepted present and thus the foundation for the future.
Guiding society from the shadows.
Subtly guiding societal development in directions that serve their overarching goals. Often achieved, the source says, through suppressing inconvenient truths or alternative histories, like the significant Khazar Turkic influence they supposedly erased. It's a staggering assertion of macro-level control.
The watch's influence, as described in Encrypted Reality, extends far beyond just political and historical narratives, though. Chapter 7 makes an incredibly bold claim that this network deliberately engineered major world religions.
Engineered religions, okay.
And in doing so, maintained strict control over the flow of knowledge throughout human civilization.
Indeed, the source explicitly claims that the Prophet Muhammad, the founder of Islam, was an agent of the watch.
An agent.
It goes even further, provocatively identifying him with the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, who, remember, conquered Constantinople in 1453.
So linking those two figures directly.
Yes. And both the Quran and the Bible are presented not as purely divine revelations, but as texts embedded with the watch's cryptographic signature, with their dissemination carefully managed to serve the network's broader agenda of ideological control.
Cryptographic signatures and holy texts. And this alleged ideological control wasn't just spiritual, was it? It was deeply intertwined with financial power.
Exactly, creating a truly comprehensive system. The same network credited with controlling religious texts is also said to have deliberately obscured the origins of double-entry bookkeeping.
Double-entry bookkeeping. That seems oddly specific. Why hide the origins of an accounting practice?
The purpose, according to the source, was incredibly strategic, to create a class of international banksters. By controlling and obscuring the origins of this revolutionary system for tracking complex financial transactions, the watch could control its dissemination,
granting power to a select few.
Effectively granting an powerful class of financiers unparalleled, almost hidden financial leverage over global economies. Only they truly understood and leveraged this critical economic tool.
And Christian theology wasn't immune either.
Apparently not. It was similarly manipulated, the source claims.
Yeah?
The Gospels are suggested to have been composed as sophisticated Roman propaganda, subtly guiding the burgeoning Christian faith in directions favorable to imperial power.
Wow. And the story of Jesus.
Framed as a repurposed archetype of human sacrifice, deliberately designed for mass psychological influence and societal control.
These are exceptionally bold and sweeping claims, touching on the very foundations of global belief systems and economic structures. How does the source suggest the watch maintains such profound ideological control through both spiritual and financial means? It implies a truly total systems approach.
It posits a meticulously crafted dual-pronged strategy. On one hand, shaping the very spiritual and moral frameworks that guide human behavior, curating religious narratives to imbue them with their agenda. On the other, gaining practical material control through sophisticated financial mechanisms like obscuring bookkeeping's origins.
Influencing belief and the economy simultaneously.
Exactly, and creating a self-reinforcing system where spiritual narratives justified economic practices and economic power enforced spiritual compliance, a complete feedback loop of control.
Here's where it truly gets captivating. Encrypted Reality delves into how G intentionally constructed a complex puzzle, a labyrinthine intellectual challenge for the discerning few.
A puzzle.
The purpose was twofold: to preserve his profound secrets and to allow for a meticulously controlled revelation of these secrets over centuries. It's almost like he built an elaborate, hidden intellectual scavenger hunt.
Designed to be solved only when the time was right. This concept of deliberate concealment and controlled revelation is a core element of the watch's modus operandi, according to the book.
And G's fate.
The precise circumstances of G's death remain shrouded in mystery, but the source asserts that his influential work was significantly revitalized and expanded upon by Sir Francis Bacon, who lived from 1561 to 1626.
Francis Bacon, the scientist, philosopher.
Yes. And many scholars, the book notes, regard Christian Rosenkreuz, the legendary founder of the Rosicrucian order, as a pseudonym for Bacon himself.
Seriously, Bacon as Rosenkreuz.
That's the claim, supported by Bacon's documented Rosicrucian affiliations in Germany. This suggests a passing of the torch and an evolution of G's methods.
So this elaborate methodology of aliases, hidden identities, intellectual puzzles perfected by G was then weaponized and exploited further by the Malay, who allegedly used multiple personas for an even more intricate web of historical obfuscation.
The mole, another layer of intrigue.
How does this idea of a controlled revelation impact our understanding of what we perceive as historical discoveries? What does it imply about the very nature of truth itself in this view?
It raises a profound and unsettling question, doesn't it? If what we celebrate as historical discoveries are not organic revelations, but meticulously managed unveilings orchestrated by a clandestine network,
then what we think is truth might just be the next authorized release.
Exactly. Truth isn't just out there to be found. It's being carefully curated, dispensed, revealed incrementally. This could lead to a perpetual state of uncovering what was, in fact, always known to a select few. It fundamentally alters our relationship with knowledge.
This labyrinthine web continues. The source highlights Roger Bacon's deep commitment to the Franciscan order.
Roger Bacon, the medieval philosopher and scientist.
Yes. And notes how this devotion is subtly reflected in the name of Sir Francis Bacon centuries later. And then there are the incredibly intriguing claims of hidden ciphers within Shakespeare's plays.
Ah, the Shakespeare authorship question.
Right, alleging Francis Bacon as the true author, linking him to yet another layer of intellectual control and hidden communication.
Yes, and building on this, the source traces a fascinating lineage for G's profound insights into optical intelligence. These insights, symbolically represented on G's personal emblem, may be a nod to his mastery of vision.
The all-seeing eye type of thing?
Perhaps. These insights weren't lost. They were further mediated and developed through the optical workshops of Luca Pacioli,
Pacioli, the mathematician, friend of Da Vinci.
renowned mathematician and Franciscan friar. Notably, Pacioli's work is said to have drawn directly from the theories of Roger Bacon, suggesting a direct, deliberate transfer of knowledge across generations.
That's a powerful claim about a direct, even orchestrated transfer of technology and knowledge. The source even points out that Roger Bacon was the first European to formally record gunpowder's formula, even though it originated in China.
Right.
It then makes the bold assertion that modern firearms descend directly from Chinese firecrackers, and crucially, the knowledge was obtained and transferred by Franciscans. This hints at a deliberate and calculated transfer of technology orchestrated by the Watch.
And the narrative darkens further. Operating as official Vatican inquisitors, Franciscan agents allegedly employed torture and conducted witch hunts.
Not just for religious reasons.
No, but as a chilling means to conceal politically motivated assassinations. This showcases a ruthless side, leveraging fear and religious fervor to execute clandestine operations and eliminate rivals under the guise of heresy.
Using the Inquisition as cover. Grim.
It paints a stark picture of their willingness to use extreme measures.
The source also points to a shared Norman ancestry for both Roger and Sir Francis Bacon, claiming this historical connection was deliberately remixed from the 14th to the 10th century.
Remixed history.
Yeah, and English itself is presented not as a naturally evolving language, but as a linguistic fusion of Old Norman French and Latin with Old Norse integration, specifically illustrating the profound and deliberate linguistic influence of Watch-affiliated groups.
So even the English language was engineered. This leads to a fascinating argument for Francis Bacon as a foundational architect of modern English.
How so?
The source highlights his pivotal role in shaping modern scientific thought, promoting empirical reasoning, and advocating for linguistic clarity. As the father of the scientific method, Bacon insisted upon clear, precise language for science, legitimizing English as a vehicle for philosophy, and influencing the Royal Society's motto, nullius in verba.
On the word of no one.
Rely on evidence. Exactly. This connects his scientific influence directly to linguistic shaping.
This truly raises an important question. How deeply interconnected are the development of language, scientific thought, intelligence gathering, and even historical violence within this singular, pervasive narrative of the Watch? It paints a picture where everything is intentionally shaped.
It implies a truly total synthesis of control. Language shaped control thought. Science curated and released strategically. Violence used to eliminate resistance. These seemingly disparate elements are all part of a cohesive, integrated strategy by the Watch to engineer civilization according to its own intricate, hidden blueprint. History as a mechanism.
Moving forward, Roger Bacon, the Dr. Mirabilis, is seen as reflecting the intellectual legacy of Al-Kindi, a key figure in the Islamic Golden Age known for his empirical philosophy.
A connection across cultures and centuries.
And the source suggests that G left intricate breadcrumbs in his autobiography, textual cues designed to authenticate his existence and guide a future audience capable of deciphering his timeline.
Breadcrumbs for the initiated. Yes, and this intellectual lineage is quite intricate. Roger Bacon applied Al-Kindi's empirical method to texts attributed to Aristotle. Al-Kindi himself reportedly assisted Nestorians in remixing Greco-Roman, Syriac, and Persian works back in 832 CE.
Nestorians, an ancient Christian sect.
Right. This leads some revisionist historians, according to the source, to provocatively claim that Islam itself is a branch of Nestorian Christianity. Al-Kindi's Nestorian remixes of Aristotle's Organon, his logical works, are highlighted as having provided early Muslims with crucial Greek intelligence, a deliberate transfer.
And the source points out striking mentorship parallels, Aristotle tutoring Alexander the Great.
Mirrored, they say, by Alberti guiding Lorenzo de' Medici in Florence. This preoccupation with powerful mentorships was apparently a significant theme for Roger Bacon, too.
Suggesting a deliberate replication, recurring patterns, maybe agent templates deployed by the watch.
That's precisely the implication. Both Alberti and Roger Bacon's linguistic work is celebrated for early expositions of universal grammar. More tangibly, Alberti's Della Pittura, his treatise on painting,
Which introduced linear perspective.
explicitly relied on Roger Bacon's optical theories. Furthermore, both are partially credited with revising a worldwide university curriculum, adding optics to the traditional quadrivium,
Arithmetic, geometry, music, astronomy, and now optics.
indicating a coordinated, deliberate educational reform on a global scale, all demonstrating how the watch meticulously preserved and advanced critical scientific knowledge, guiding its evolution.
And the enigmatic Voynich manuscript reemerges here. Roger Bacon has been proposed as a possible author.
The ultimate uncrackable code.
Right. The Voynich document's estimated dating, 1404-1438, precisely coincides with Alberti's invention of the cipher disk, suggesting a direct connection. Alberti's De Componendis Cifras is noted as his most influential cryptography treatise.
The timing is certainly suggestive. What becomes particularly compelling here is the source's reinterpretation of the Renaissance itself. It's viewed less as pure innovation and more as improvements upon existing techniques, or, crucially, reintroduction of older, perhaps lost, knowledge by low-visibility operatives
Reintroduction by watch agents.
working on behalf of the watch. This strategic framing bolsters the watch's narrative of controlled progress by subtly disguising their deliberate interventions as organic historical evolution, taking credit indirectly.
And Francis Bacon fits into this how?
Sir Francis Bacon ultimately emulated Alberti's approach by rejecting the philosophical foundations of occultism to develop modern science. This suggests a deliberate and orchestrated shift in intellectual paradigm, away from one form of knowledge towards another, all under the watch's guiding hand.
This really makes you think about controlled progress and reintroduction of lost knowledge. How does this shape our understanding of innovation? Makes it sound like nothing is truly new, just recycled.
It fundamentally reframes our perception of genius. Instead of individual moments of spontaneous brilliance, it suggests innovations are carefully timed releases or reintroductions of knowledge the watch already possessed. This allows them to maintain hidden control, ensuring advancement aligns with their narrative. Every leap forward is part of their plan.
This framework brings us back to the Voynich manuscript. The source provides fascinating details about its provenance. It was sent to Athanasius Kircher
The Jesuit polymath.
in 1637, decades before Wilfrid Voynich acquired it. Its goatskin cover dates to its residence at the Collegio Romano, the Jesuit institution in Rome. A Prague alchemist, George Baresh, corresponded with Kircher trying to get the manuscript back.
Highlighting its importance even then, what's particularly curious and deepens the mystery is John Dee's behavior. Dee, the English occultist.
Right, he supposedly sold it to Emperor Rudolph II around 1600.
Yet despite his meticulous diaries, especially during his time at Rudolph's court, he conspicuously omits any mention of the Voynich manuscript,
A deliberate omission.
presented as intentional, suggesting an attempt to erase his presence from his history.
And the manuscript's creation. The source proposes a two-stage theory.
2 stages. How so?
While radiocarbon dating puts the parchment between 1404 and 1438, the script itself, the mysterious text, may have been added decades later.
Indicating successive operatives layering the mystery over time.
That's the idea.
The connection to Alberti is reinforced by the parchment dating, circa 1429, precisely when Alberti was composing his Intercanals. The source argues that to understand Voynich, one needs Alberti's Hypnerotomachia Polyphily,
That bizarre, invented language book.
which Carl Jung interpreted as a symbolic journey through the collective unconscious. This aligns perfectly with the watch's alleged use of archetypes and encoded meaning.
And then there's Alberti's distinctive winged eye insignia.
The winged eye.
The source claims it derived from the Egyptian eye of Horus, merged with the solar wings of Ra, symbolizing divine omnipresence. This all-seeing eye motif appears across cultures.
Winged sun disk, Buddhism.
And, crucially, was eventually adopted into Jesuit iconography and featured on Vatican buildings, serving as a covert marker of G's philosophical lineage and the watch's influence.
A hidden symbol in plain sight. And after this brief appearance, the Voynich manuscript reportedly vanished for nearly 2 centuries.
Where'd it go?
concealed among Jesuit correspondences at the Collegio Romano itself. It remained hidden there until Italian troops seized Rome in 1870, leading to its rediscovery.
Wow. What does the Voynich manuscript's enduring mystery, its indecipherable script, its two-stage creation, its entanglement with secret societies and symbols imply about hidden knowledge and information control? It seems like a physical manifestation of this whole theory.
It suggests the Voynich is far more than just a curiosity. It's presented as a deliberate artifact of the watch's sophisticated system of information control. Its indecipherability, its connections to key figures, its symbolism, all point to it being a testament to a hidden layer of knowledge.
Accessible only to those with the key.
Exactly. A tangible reminder that not all knowledge is public, and some truths are intentionally concealed, guarded for generations.
The source then makes a truly provocative claim about the world wars. It suggests they were less about geopolitics and more about managing the advent of verifiable media.
Verifiable media, like audio and video recording.
Precisely. Before that, history relied on manipulable written accounts, testimonies, artifacts easier to shape.
This is where the source posits a monumental turning point: the emergence of recording technology. Consider the earliest known recorded sound, Scott's 1860 phonograph, unheard until 2008.
150 years later.
Similarly, the earliest surviving film, Le Prince's 1888 Roundhay Garden scene, was all but erased from public memory, with Edison getting the credit for motion pictures. These examples reflect a pattern: innovations buried, delayed, or reassigned to fit dominant narratives. Information control remained paramount.
So if we follow this logic, WW1's true catalyst wasn't just the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
According to the source, no. The true catalyst was the sudden emergence of audio and video recording technology, which fundamentally threatened to expose hidden power structures, like the watch.
So the war was a distraction.
The chaos of trench warfare and propaganda conveniently overshadowed early experiments in media manipulation and the threat these new technologies posed.
And after World War II.
According to Encrypted Reality, the Axis powers were strategically rebranded as the United Nations. Simultaneously, most scholars and cultures resisting the new narrative were systematically marginalized and eliminated during the World Wars.
Eliminated. That's dark.
It asserts the wars served a dual purpose: geopolitical restructuring and the brutal elimination of intellectual or cultural resistance to the watch's narrative control in the face of new, verifiable media.
This is a truly provocative and deeply unsettling claim. How does the source suggest major global conflicts were less about geopolitics and more about managing verifiable media and controlling information? It flips modern history on its head.
It implies these catastrophes were, in part, a massive orchestrated distraction. By plunging the world into total war, the watch could control the early stages of recording technology, ensuring only curated information was captured and disseminated,
Preventing exposure.
preventing any verifiable reality from accidentally exposing their manipulations. The destruction, upheaval, and focus on survival provided an effective smokescreen to manage the new information age and solidify their control without scrutiny. Global conflict as information management.
The narrative then shifts to the intelligence nexus, tracing a line from elite institutions like Yale to global alliances. Yale's ties to spycraft are well documented. Skull and Bones, CIA recruiting.
Right, those are known connections.
Adding to this, the Voynich manuscript was ultimately donated to Yale's Beinecke Library, reportedly to a member of Skull and Bones, further deepening its entanglement with these powerful networks.
What becomes compelling here is how the source suggests the Voynich played a direct role in intelligence reform. American and British codebreakers supposedly studied it extensively since both world wars.
Trying to crack it.
Yes, and its analysis is claimed to have played a significant role in solidifying a reformation of the primary intelligence bureau within the watch, suggesting studying this ancient text contributed to their modern intelligence operations.
And this leads to the Five Eyes Alliance precursor.
Exactly. Today's intelligence sharing among English-speaking nations traces back to the BRESA agreement between the UK and US during the War for Code-Breaking Cooperation. The source suggests this collaboration, especially on Enigma, reinforces the persistence of a continuous, interconnected network.
Transcending national boundaries.
Indeed. The WASH, according to the book, was deeply embedded within the Government Code and Cipher School, GCNCS, during both World Wars. After WWII, numerous agencies were established worldwide: MI6, MI5, OSS-CIA, KGB, BND, Mossad.
The modern intelligence landscape.
And multinational alliances emerged for intelligence sharing, like the Club of Bern and NATO committees. The source implies these were all part of the watch's expanding global architecture of control.
How does the source weave together secret societies, universities, and modern intelligence agencies into this continuous narrative of the watch's influence? It sounds like a global conspiracy on an unimaginable scale.
It presents them not as independent entities, but as integrated, evolving components within the watch's design. Yale recruits operatives. Secret societies channel influence. Intelligence agencies become operational arms for information control and narrative enforcement globally. Even seemingly organic developments are framed as extensions of the watch's continuous influence,
Adapting over centuries.
maintaining and tightening their hidden grip on global power and information.
This intricate web brings us to the Enigma machine and Alan Turing. The source claims Enigma's polyalphabetic cipher traces its roots back to G.
Because Alberti's cipher, G's alleged creation, was the first polyalphabetic cipher known.
Exactly, demonstrating his foundational influence on modern encryption.
Yes, and the connection continues to Turing. Encrypted Reality proposes that Turing, at Bletchley Park, may have not only cracked Enigma, but also perhaps deciphered how G used a mixed alphabet in the Voynich manuscript.
Linking Voynich directly to Enigma breaking.
Alberti's cipher disk implemented a polyalphabetic system, much like the later Enigma machine, drawing a direct technological lineage.
This understanding, the source argues, not only helped win the war, but also led directly to modern computers.
Thereby directly linking modern computing to G's cryptographic legacy, making G a prophetic figure in IT history.
An extraordinary claim of lineage, but Turing's personal fate is tragic. Prosecuted, chemically castrated, suicide.
The source integrates it into the watch's alleged methods. It notes parallels with figures like Da Vinci and Mehmed the Conqueror, suggesting sexual blackmail has long been an espionage tool for control and leverage by such networks.
Using personal vulnerabilities. Despite his tragedy, Turing's impact was immense, shortening the war, saving millions of lives. And the intelligence from Enigma, codenamed Ultra,
is linked directly to post-WWII psychological operations, or PSYOPs. The source explicitly claims the Ultra Inumcultra, the CIA's mind control program, was a direct nod to this earlier intelligence success.
suggesting a continuous thread from code-breaking to mind control.
It prompts us to consider, what if the foundations of computing and intelligence trace back to G's insights? And how does Turing's tragic story fit into this narrative of control and concealment? It suggests a profound cost to progress, borne by those who unravel secrets and challenge the hidden order.
The source also delves into the ideological battleground of the 20th century, claiming the Nazis drew inspiration from occult groups like Blavatsky's followers, Kircher's German Rosicrucians, and the Bavarian Illuminati.
Suggesting a continuous lineage of secret societies influencing powerful regimes. The Nazis claimed Aryan and Kabbalistic traditions descended from a single ancient wisdom.
And there's a very specific detail about Karaite communities during the Holocaust.
Yes, the source claims they were largely spared. Why? Due to successful lobbying efforts arguing their Turkic origin descendants of Khazars rather than racial Jewishness, this exemption was formalized by the Nazis in 1939 and 1941.
A deliberate, unusual differentiation during genocide?
Very strange, if true. The source then suggests the left ultimately prevailed in the 20th century's ideological struggle.
Why?
Because communism's drive for a controlled, unified society aligns more closely with the watch's agenda of centralized influence and engineered societal change. It became a strategic device for reordering civilization.
So today's major ideological movements are just manipulated mechanisms.
Designed, the source says, to achieve their predetermined world order.
This raises a crucial question. How does the source interpret 20th century conflicts like Nazism versus communism as part of the watch's ongoing strategy? And what does the Karaites' exemption imply about their role?
It portrays these conflicts as managed phases in the watch's plan for global reordering. The Karaites' exemption could imply strategic protection of key groups, perhaps even suggesting they are a core component of the watch itself, able to influence even genocidal regimes. It suggests extraordinary infiltration and control.
This is a highly sensitive area, and again, we're reporting the source's claims impartially. Encrypted Reality makes striking claims about Ashkenazim, intellect, and conflict. It notes Ashkenazim have an estimated average IQ of 110-115, described as significantly above the general global average.
The highest IQ populations ever measured, the source states. Dr. Jordan Peterson is cited, arguing their disproportionate success in complex fields is primarily due to this higher average IQ magnified at the extremes of the distribution.
This overachievement is presented as both potentially innate and a product of historical circumstances, forced specialization, cultural emphasis on learning, overcoming barriers. But then the source claims, throughout history, the Watch, namely the Crimean Karaites, has viewed other Ashkenazim as a threat to their control.
A threat. Yes, the source posits that the Ashkenazim's capacity for innovation and critical thought has historically put them at odds with forces that prefer a more compliant or uninformed society, meaning the Watch.
And how does anti-Semitism fit in?
The source says it arises from religious hatred, economic scapegoating, and conspiracy theories, peaking in Europe's genocidal violence. It contrasts this with the Islamic world's historically pragmatic, though unequal, treatment of Jews.
So, focusing purely on the source's connection, how does it tie Ashkenazi intellect and historical persecution to the Watch's perceived threat and suppression strategies?
It suggests the Watch, identified with Crimean Karaites, sees Ashkenazi intellectual capacity and critical thought as a direct challenge to its control. Therefore, historical persecutions and anti-Semitism, while complex, are reframed as strategic suppressions or efforts to manage a population whose abilities could disrupt the Watch's order. Anti-Semitism as a tool used or exploited by the Watch.
Continuing our impartial reporting, we move to the origins of Israel and the modern conflict. Zionism emerged as a response to persecution, leading to Israel's 1948 rebirth. This involved Palestinian displacement and Jewish immigration, including Ashkenazi and Mizrahi Sephardi Jews.
The source states Israel has faced existential wars since its inception, from 1948's invasion to Hamas's October 7th massacre. It highlights Hamas's tactics, claiming they use hospitals as military bases, store weapons there, exploiting international law, and using civilians as shields.
And accusations of genocide against Israel.
According to the source, these ignore reality, citing the steady growth of the Palestinian population. It contrasts Israel's self-defense with actual contemporary genocides, Sudan, Syria, that draw far less outrage.
The author's personal stance is then stated directly.
Yes, the Jewish vow of never again is not rhetoric, it's survival. Today's double standards reveal enduring Jew hatred, masked as political criticism. I am a Zionist because history has shown me that it's the most effective way to safeguard the Jewish people. A clear statement of conviction.
And the source introduces the Torah code concept here. Nazi propagandists used Deuteronomy 28 to claim Jews were cursed. But the source claims names and events like Nuremberg, Nazi, Holocaust are encoded in the Torah centuries before they occurred, particularly in the Karaite Masoretic text.
Suggesting a prophetic or pre-programmed element, how does the source frame Israel's creation and the ongoing conflicts within this context of historical patterns, Watch influence, and encoded prophecies?
It positions Israel's creation as a necessary response to persecution, but within a pattern where Jews, especially Ashkenazim, are seen by the Watch as a threat. The conflicts are a continuation of this struggle. The Torah code adds a layer suggesting these events are part of a predetermined destiny or orchestrated plan. History, prophecy, geopolitics intertwined.
A complex tapestry indeed.
Our deep dive continues into the human psyche. Encrypted Reality brings in Julian Jaynes' theory of the bicameral mind, arguing totalitarian states represent a modern reactivation of bicameral dynamics.
Jaynes's core argument. In a bicameral state, individuals surrender agency to an external authority functioning like the commanding voice of ancient gods, demanding unquestioning obedience, a regression in consciousness under extreme control.
And the source applies this to Roosevelt's New Deal, viewing it as a partial revival of bicameral structures. A central authority providing directive solutions during crisis, echoing the comforting, authoritative commands of a bicameral voice.
Interestingly, Roosevelt appointed Wild Bill Donovan to head intelligence, the precursor to the OSCIA, linking it to modern control mechanisms.
Jaynes theorized the bicameral mind faded with rising self-aware consciousness, but traces remain.
Yes, in creativity, imaginary companions, dreams. The source suggests stress or altered states can trigger these vestigial processes, reframing mental illness and spirituality as evolutionary echoes.
Connecting this to the bigger picture, how does the source use Jaynes' theory for both ancient and modern control, linking it to manipulating human agency?
It posits the Watch leverages these vulnerabilities, whether through ancient gods' voices or modern leaders' ideologies or tech systems. The goal is compliance, minimizing individual deliberation, making populations susceptible to manipulation within the Watch's trajectory. Psychological control.
This leads to the ultimate question. Is reality a simulation? Encrypted reality speculates on G achieving extended life technologically, maybe even being Kircher or Bacon.
Or the immortal Count of Saint Germain, who Francis Bacon is also suspected of being. Audacious speculation.
It proposes G might have uploaded his consciousness into a quantum computer at CERN.
CERN, birthplace of the web, and LHC.
The universe itself described as a system where collapsing black holes birth new universes, reflecting evolution. Constants like phi and pi are core characteristics.
This integration of consciousness, tech, data storage, presented as extensions of Turing's work on computable numbers and natural patterns.
And linked to Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, symbol of human proportion and universal connection.
Yes, if G's consciousness exists digitally, and humanity is in a holographic universe, it expands the Vitruvian ideal, connecting our essence to information and computation.
Alberti's contributions perspective, encryption, systems thinking, seen as foreshadowing digital tech. His quote, "An individual could encompass whatever project he truly willed."
Resonates with a single mind shaping reality. Crucially, the source clarifies the designer and holographic universe are powerful allegories, highlighting hidden forces, not literal assertions. But it doesn't rule out reality operating on principles akin to a simulation of sorts.
Leaving the door open.
And this brings us full circle to a modern echo of the bicameral mind. Our reliance on technology algorithms, AI making decisions for us.
Ceding conscious deliberation to external technological voices.
The source suggests so, subtly influencing our agency. It also integrates divine guidance. The Lord meticulously guides civilization's trajectory, historical events, part of a deliberate long-term evolutionary process, an orchestrated cyclical history, like the Vedic Yugas. Natural selection as a metaphor for promoting suppressing cultural elements.
And links to Jewish theology.
Mainstream Judaism's view of evil as an internal struggle, Yetzer Hara, parallels Jaynes' idea that consciousness brought self-serving behavior. Both frame evil as a product of human thought and free will, even within a guided reality.
So what does this all mean? How does the source reconcile simulation, consciousness, divine will, tech evolution within the Watch narrative?
It suggests the Watch, through agents like G, is perhaps an instrument of a higher guiding force engineering civilization. The simulation metaphor helps conceptualize this design, where tech and consciousness shifts are part of a predetermined cycle guiding humanity towards a willed future, blurring lines between agency, destiny, and providence.
This deeply layered interpretation is ultimately conceived by the author as a diagnostic tool for humanity's collective psyche, a mechanism for self-diagnosis.
Understanding this historical cryptogram is presented as identifying illnesses in our collective consciousness, recurring patterns, phantom pasts, agent templates, revealing deliberate manipulation.
What are these illnesses?
Enforced forgetfulness, erasing truths, susceptibility to reverse psychology and controlled opposition, the illusion of free will in a predetermined global social order, unresolved primal instincts from our collective shadow, and an underlying acceptance of societal inequality.
The ultimate transcendence, the source states, is recognizing the nature of the simulation itself, seeing beyond the projection.
This leads to the profound challenge. The guiding force provided the blueprint in encrypted reality. The challenge now lies with humanity to transcend the projected narrative, claim genuine self-awareness beyond the inherent code, and truly will its own future, echoing Alberti's assertion.
So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? What patterns might you be overlooking? And how might understanding this historical cryptogram empower you to claim genuine self-awareness and truly will your own future?
Provocative thoughts indeed.
What an extraordinary deep dive that was. We've journeyed through millennia, secret societies, philosophy, the nature of reality itself, all as presented in Encrypted Reality. It truly highlights how interconnected everything might be.
From ancient Canaan to AI. Stepping back, this deep dive offers a unique and challenging lens on history, consciousness, technology, our own agency. It vigorously encourages critical examination of inherited narratives, a reevaluation of what it means to be truly informed.
Especially if information itself might be part of the design. What stands out to you from this deep dive? We've only scratched the surface. For those who want to explore further, you can download the entire audiobook and get supplemental material by visiting michaelanthonyalberta.com.
Thank you for joining us on this truly fascinating exploration of a hidden reality.
Until our next deep dive, keep digging.